there we go. So, good morning to everyone. I see that I have some viewers out there on Facebook. If you can send me a little hello, that's always good. Instagram just joined in. A little bit of a connection issue there. We're actually going to do something a little bit different today. I'm in my little office kitchen, and I would like to make a recipe that is on drpingle.com that is a little coffee drink, coffee and tea drink. It's called a London Fog Latte, and it's really easy to make. And there are some health benefits to bringing in tea with coffee. And then what I want to do is I want to sit down and I want to chat with all of you. I want to find out more about what topics you're liking, which ones you're not, which ones you want to share. I have a lot of kind of just questions for my viewers. All of you have been so great about reaching out, asking questions, and it's so awesome to see the same people all the time just jumping in and joining the conversation. So basically these lives are led by you and they're from your feedback. So I wanted to show you how to make one of my favorite little lattes and then just chat. So it's not an official Q&A per se, but many of you are more recent viewers. Some of you have just started showing up regularly, may not know kind of the mission I'm on and what I'm trying to get out there. And so it's always good to kind of touch base. You get to know me and I'll get to know you. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna make this London Fog Latte. Now, the beauty of doing something like this, you know, as many of you know, I'm a coffee drinker. In the morning, I have a cup of coffee, but a London Fog Latte uses coffee, but also uses black tea. Now, black tea does have a benefit to your health. It has an antioxidant and it helps to increase butyrate in the gut. Okay, and butyrate is a short chain fatty acid that lives right here in our gut that helps promote beneficial bacteria that can lower inflammation, provide an antioxidant effect. It's used a lot in cancer therapies because there's such a positive impact of it. So this type of thing can not only be relaxing and kind of nice to sit down and have as a drink, but also have some health benefits. So we're gonna take a look. Good morning everyone. Good afternoon. All right, so I'm gonna try to do this on camera. We will see. We have a few ingredients here. First of all, Earl Grey tea. Now, if you're someone who doesn't want the caffeine, they do make a decaf one as well. I'm not gonna be doing that one. I'm gonna be using the full-fledged caffeinated one. And I have a cup of hot water, 1 cup. And I'm just gonna start steeping this so we end up with a cup of Earl Grey tea. That's our goal, okay? So you steep it about 4 minutes or so until it kind of gets nice and strong. And then we're gonna need some almond milk. Many of you ask which almond milk I use. I love Elmhurst, sorry, it's one of those mornings, Elmhurst. So I'm gonna use Elmhurst, and in fact, this doesn't quite feel like 2 cups, so we might need a second one. So we're gonna end up with 2 cups of almond milk, a cup of tea. We're gonna brew an espresso shot, and then we have some sweeteners to add to the blender. And then we're gonna blend it up, and we're gonna serve it. It's that simple. Now, if you don't have an espresso machine, you can absolutely just use a half a cup of brewed coffee. I have a little Nespresso out here in the office. I have a full-fledged espresso machine in the house. You can use either. So you can do a shot of espresso or you can do a half a cup of coffee. I'm going with the espresso today from the little Nespresso, which sometimes overflows my shot glass, so wish me luck. We will see. Look at that. So, in my youth, I was a barista. I grew up in Seattle and I used to work at coffee houses, not Starbucks, little small coffee houses. And you always wanted this dark, lighter, and then cream on top. So yay to the Nespresso today. So we're gonna throw that in there, and I have a little bit extra, so heck, why not, right? This is still steeping, so let's give that a minute. So the other things we're gonna add some sweetener. Now I have a tablespoon of maple syrup and a tablespoon of honey on the website, which absolutely works. Any type of sweetener would work. If you're someone that can't, new maple syrup. If you're someone that can't do sweeteners, you can absolutely use an artificial sweetener. That's no problem. So we've got some maple syrup and some honey. And I have vanilla extract here. I love Madagascar vanilla if you have it. And this is not easy to open either. You know, this is how you know it's live and I don't practice, right? Because I can't get the vanilla open. Darn it, we might not have vanilla in our latte today. Carolyn, what do I think about sea moss? I think it's great. I think it takes some time to get used to. Gosh darn it. Well, no vanilla today. Ideally, you would put a teaspoon of vanilla in there, but mine is sealed shut. Nothing like live broadcast. All right, so we have about a cup of Earl Grey here. So, steeped Earl Grey tea into the blender with the coffee and the sweeteners, and then we're going to need 2 cups of any sort of nut milk. Now, the traditional recipe uses dairy milk. For those of you that know me, know that dairy milk doesn't really exist in my house, so I really prefer to use almond or oat or cashew. This happens to be almond from Elmhurst, which I like because it doesn't have a ton of additives in it. You can also make your own. I'll have to do a live on that. So we toss this in here, and bear with me. Maybe you don't like that. Now this makes about 2 full cups. So if you have someone else at home, you can share it with them, depending on the size of your cup, obviously. As most of you know, I usually do this huge cup. Today I'm actually going to use a little bit smaller cup. But you can even blend it longer and get it even hotter. Mine, was hot from the coffee and the tea, but if you wanted to make this ahead of time, for example, and refrigerate it and then heat it up, the high speed blenders will absolutely heat it up. The longer you blend it, the more frothy it is. As far as topping, I'm going to put a little bit of cinnamon on top, but my son took the little, I've done lavender petals on top, chocolate shavings, cinnamon, a little bit of nutmeg. You can really put anything on top. So if you can kind of see, I'm going to try. So it's basically like a little frothy latte, right? So let me adjust my camera here, cameras, to get me back down to where I'm sitting. So there we go. So that is Dr. Pingle's London Fog Latte. So I see some questions already. Good morning, everyone. Coffee stimulates cortisol production. True, false? Yes and no. So cortisol isn't necessarily a horrible thing when it's appropriate. Now, if somebody has a poor cortisol response, they have to watch their coffee. It also depends on the amount that you're having, right? As far as caffeine or no caffeine. This feels a little bright, right? Facebook. There we go. So, what I wanted to do today, first of all, like I said earlier, there are a ton of you who have just joined in and just started following me on a daily basis and seeing what I'm about, and you may or may not really know what I'm about, and I may not know you quite yet. So I wanted to just kind of take a few minutes to kind of have a coffee talk, to enjoy my little latte and get some feedback from you. My blender, this blender is a Breville. This is my little office blender, but I use a Vitamix. That Vitamix is the best. appliance I've ever purchased, hands down. Oh, that is good. Holy Toledo. So one of the things that I wanted to ask my viewers, to ask you guys was, I ask you all the time for topics and medical topics, and I love the feedback. But I think for me, one of the things that encouraged me to get on these social media platforms and talk to you every single day was that I was seeing something lacking in the medical community. I was seeing patients going to doctors, not getting answers that they need, not getting better. And what I continue to see is an increase in lifestyle-mediated disease and death. Particularly in America, definitely within the world. I mean, our top killers are cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and cancer. Now, they've just came out recently and said COVID's up there or something in the top 3, but I want to remind you that COVID in particular targets people with cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and cancer. So we're actually looking at the same population of people for a lot of those deaths. Now, all 3 of those main diseases in America do have a lifestyle aspect to them, correct? The problem is, and this isn't the patient's fault, the problem is there isn't a lot of realistic answers, in my opinion, in the conventional medical world. First of all, it takes you 6 months to get in with your primary care physician. And then when you're in there for 15 minutes. So it's like, well, we need you to work on your diet and lifestyle, take care, see you next year, here's your scripts. So that was one of the things that I found in medicine where I was frustrated, and I thought, well, how can we expect you to get well or inspire yourself to be well if you don't have the tools, you don't have any information, nobody's talking to you, you're not allowed to ask questions. And that is the reason that I show up here 5 days a week, is to start to educate all of you on things that maybe you're not getting from the medical community. So those are some of the things I like to hear about from my viewers as well, right? I like to hear about, what are your limitations? What are your limitations to changing your diet? What are your limitations to starting new exercise? What are your limitations to stress or starting mind-body aspects? And how can I be a valuable part of your morning routine? What types of topics can I offer? What types of questions can I answer? What types of motivation can I provide for you so that we can slowly, over time, start to change what's killing the majority of us in our country? My whole family is passed on for the most part. I mean, my immediate family's here, my husband and my kids, and I have some, aunts, uncles, and step-parents and things like that, but as far as my mom and my dad, they're gone. And 2 of those main killers in our country took them: cardiovascular disease and cancer. And I always look and go, gosh, what could we have done differently? Could we have done anything differently? Are we moving ourselves more towards these types of diseases, and how can I be a valuable part of it? So that's why I'm here. That's why I show up every weekday. So what I want to hear from all of you are, what are the limitations that you're running into? What are the frustrations that you're having with your medical care or with the answers you're trying to get? Is there too much information now that we're in the world of internet? Or is there too little information or conflicting information? Or, what is going on? So start typing. Tell me. That's what I want to know, right? I had a meeting yesterday with a company. I don't know if they're out there today. I definitely will talk more about them as I learn more, but they created an app to track patients' progress. So basically tracking for women menstrual cycles, diet, fitness, mind-body meditation, symptoms, things like that in an app. And then that syncs with the doctor. And I thought about that. That's freaking amazing, because you know what? When you go to your standard office visit and they say, well, hey, what's going on? And you've got literally 5 minutes to tell them everything that's been going on for the last 6 months to a year, it's not possible to do so. So having that line of communication between a doctor and a patient, where the data has already been uploaded into a chart, where the data is there, where the doctor can review it, is a pretty fascinating thing. And credit to this company. And I hope if you're listening, you reach out to me more, because I'd like to look at it more, because I do think that's something that's missing. Right, guys? the communication between doctor and patient. I see some stuff on. Yeah, Vic is saying lots of issues with vertigo and has been better with hydration and vitamins. And you know what? That's great. I'm so glad to hear that because vertigo is so difficult. But something as simple as water, like I don't think I ever went to the doctor and the doctor asked me how much water I was drinking. I don't think I ever did. And I don't know if many of you know my personal story or where I came from to get where I'm at now, but there's many times that I went to the doctor and I was told, oh, you're perfectly normal. And they didn't even check anything. You know, oh, you're young and healthy. You look good. You know, and I hadn't even checked my blood work and they said that. So I thought, how do you know? Like, I don't know, you know, and in my 15-minute appointment, that was that. You know, I remember telling my OB in my late 20s, hey, I'm thinking about maybe starting to have kids. Should I do some lab work? Should I check some things out? I haven't been to the doctor in a while. Should I check my thyroid? She said, oh, no, you're young. You're fine. That was it. That's all I got. Whenever I went to doctors with symptoms, hey, I'm having GI issues. Hey, I don't feel well. Hey, I'm just not feeling like myself. My hair's falling out. You know, my skin is dry. Oh, you're fine. You know, or go see a psychiatrist, you know? And that kind of broke my heart. And I can't imagine I'm the only one, right? Am I the only one? Maybe you guys all found those amazing doctors, or maybe it's changed since then. Don't email that it's too high or too low. I feel frustrated with doctors because I have a fatty liver and they just give me the news, no advice on what to do, and you have to figure it out yourself. I agree with you. I think it's real easy for somebody to say, and even me to say, hey guys, I need you to change your diet. I need you to change your lifestyle. I need you to meditate more. I need you to exercise more. But the bottom line is, if you don't have the tools to do that, then me saying it really does nothing. Right? There needs to be tools. There needs to be someone that says, well, this is how you can eat, or you need to exercise X amount. This is how you do it. This is how you take care of your body. We can't get anywhere if we're not working together on how to do so. And that's where I found, Rosa, that's where I found to be the biggest hindrance. And here's another thing, and I'm not against any sort of doctor because doctors go into this for a reason. We go in to help. And we have certain specialties and we have certain areas that we specialize in and that we love, but we're all out there with a common goal, and that's to make people well, right? But think about the burden on the medical system right now with cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and cancer alone. Let's take out the rest of the things that kill Americans, like influenza, and we'll put COVID in there, influenza, COVID, suicide, automobile accidents, workplace accidents. I mean, you know, they go on and on. But if we had less of those lifestyle diseases, then the burden on the doctors would be a little bit less, meaning that it won't take 6 months to get in with your primary care doctor, or 3 months to get into the lab to get your labs drawn, right? Or when something does come along that creates a pandemic, such as what we're going through, we have then we have more facilities and more doctors available to treat those patients, right? So we have this burden. And a lot of it is stuff that we do have control over. We do have. And if I can empower any of you to look at what you can do for your health to better your health, it actually results in better health care down the line. Okay. We need compassion. My doc says he's only allowed 4 minutes per patient. That's rough. I guess my hard thing is allowed. The word allowed. Like, that's kind of sad that they're only allowed 4 minutes per patient. By who, right? Just think about that. Who, right? I mean, I don't take insurance in my practice, and there's a reason I don't, because I don't want someone telling me how much time I have to spend with the patient. I'm going to spend the amount of time with the patient that I feel is adequate for their health. But I have a luxury of doing that in naturopathic medicine, and I have a luxury, and my patients that are able to pay for it. Of course, they have that luxury too, but that's not the commonplace, right? Most of the time you go to your doctor on your plan or you go to the hospital, but the fact that they're only allowed a certain amount of time kind of frustrates the heck out of me. They should be allowed to do their job. Sometimes that may only take 4 minutes, other times it may take 15, and many times it may take 45, But if there was a way of better communication, a way to follow up, there were more lifestyle factors that could be educated or more programs for educating people on their health. I think that's why I'm here. Educate people on your health, educate people on your body. What can you do? What can you do at home to improve your health so that you have a more productive office visit with your doctor? Because they are only allowed 4 minutes, right? But that's a great point. Looking at pharmaceuticals, and that's a great point as well, the use of pharmaceuticals, which can actually be of great benefit. Although many of you may not know this, most of our pharmaceuticals actually came from plant medicine or came from the use of plants in the past where they've extracted something out of a plant and then turned it into some sort of medicine, right? So there's actually a lot more options out there than you may or may not be made aware of. I'm missing my latte. So here's a question. Yeah, Laura, I hear ya. Statins are a tough one, right? What's worse, high cholesterol or liver disease? That's the question with the statin. Good news is proper diet, exercise, proper support, nutrition support not only improves the cholesterol, but also improves your liver health. You don't have to make that choice, right? If that makes sense. Those of you on statins, hopefully that makes sense because you get one of the two. So my question is for you guys, what stops you? Like if I say, okay, I want you to do something for yourself every single day. I want you to spend your evening giving gratitude for the things that you have. What stops you from doing it? And how can I encourage you to do it? The best thing to do is eat healthy, but the world we live in has much more tasty bad food. See, I don't know that I agree with that because if I taste some of that food, I think it tastes horrible. I really do. Like if you took me to like In-N-Out Burger, oh my God, ugh, right? But some people are like, I love In-N-Out Burger. Like, I don't know. I think you learn a taste for better foods when you start eating better foods. Like, I feel like I eat amazingly. Like, I love the food I eat. I actually had a conversation with a friend about this who's trying to lose some weight. And she was like, gosh, do I have to eat like you? What a sacrifice. And I asked her, I said, why is that a sacrifice? Like I actually eat wonderful, nutritious meals that taste awesome and I feel great. So to me, it's not a sacrifice. I actually feel worse when I eat what they're eating, right? But it is, that's kind of a barrier that I think all of you, I would assume, and me and everyone has had to go through at some point, right? So what stops you? It is true, your taste buds change. I agree. So what stops you from implementing what you need to do? Where is the roadblock? And where can I assist you guys in that? I know it is hard. My 9-year-old loves donuts, and we have friends that always give him donuts when he goes over, and I never give him donuts, very rarely. I have an apple cider donut. Of course, it's gluten-free and vegan, so he's not as keen on it. And we have an amazing place here that makes a gluten-free vegan donuts. They're amazing. Urban Cookies. If you guys live in Phoenix and you want an awesome gluten-free vegan donut, go to Urban Cookies. Yum. But anyway, and when I was in Nashville, I think it was Five Sisters or something bakery had gluten-free vegan donuts as well. So I heard that they're more on the East Coast. But anyway, it is. He kind of buys into it. He just loves the idea of it. So I get it, You put yourself last. Carolyn, that's a great observation. I'm a mom, and I'm a wife, and I'm a doctor, and I put, with those jobs, I literally put everyone else first. And so I think most people out there 100% can say that, yeah, they don't put themselves first. They put themselves last, just like you're saying. And that's a huge hindrance that I see. And I will continue to try to come up with motivational topics, recognizing that just taking a few minutes a day for yourself actually makes you more productive to assist others. If you're not feeling well and you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to give the best help to other people. And I think often we just get caught up in what we should do for everybody else, and we don't pay enough attention to what we need to do for us, right? Right? Here by Nashville. I enjoyed Nashville. I went last year. It was a lot of fun. It was the first time I went there. It was a lot of fun. A lot of people saying grocery stores don't have good choices. Really? Where you are, they don't? I'm closer to the West Coast, so we have so many options here. I mean, we have Whole Foods, we have Sprouts, we do have farmers markets, but we have even like our Safeway and our Albertsons have organic sections and things like that. But I do know that is very common more to the West Coast, because I've had a lot of people who have done my program or have done some of my recipes saying we can't find this ingredient, and it's something that is so readily available here in Arizona, but maybe not in Pittsburgh. But I will say there's usually vegetables, right? Some sort of vegetables. Yeah. Okay. The illusion of a fit-looking body makes people eat what they want without considering what they consume, or the illusion of not feeling sick. Then those who have a genetic disorder taking. Yeah. I think body image is a huge one. I think a lot of people think they have to starve themselves to be thin. Someone asked me earlier, how do I stay fit, I think on Instagram. I eat plants. I eat plants and I exercise. I dance hip hop once a week, and I do Pilates 2 days a week, and then I do some home stuff as well. And I think, and I've done that for a very long time. I'm also someone that literally never sits down. This is about the longest I sit down. I'm always painting something. My husband says the house changes pretty much every week. I move furniture. I'm painting the kitchen, and my kitchen has a really tall ceiling. So this weekend I'll be up on the top of a 6-foot ladder, balancing while rolling paint. Like, I'm a very active person, right? So I think that helps as well. It's very difficult to get me on the couch to watch a show. And I'm also a very tall, genetically thin person, right? I don't think being thin necessarily means health. I've actually seen quite the opposite in my life. I've seen a lot of very thin people who think they look great because they're thin, but they're actually really unhealthy. And I've seen people that are heavier set, that probably some of the more healthier people I've seen. So I think this image that we're supposed to be a certain size or a certain way actually is hindering our ability to health. I think it comes down to activity, metabolics, the nutrition you're putting in your food, genetic predisposition, learning what you can do for you as an individual you. What works for me won't work for somebody else all the time, right? So, okay. I eat everything and my blood tests are perfect, all within the lines, feel great, workout of course, so I'm strong. Why does what you eat really matter? It's interesting because some people get whatever they're eating, they figured out what their body needs. I do find that people such as yourself that eat, if you're eating fast food, which I don't think you're saying, you're eating homemade. Yeah, meat and veggies, homemade. If you know what's in your food and you're not eating all the processed foods, you're already a step above everybody else. I think you would find it differently. If you were eating all processed foods, your health might be completely different. There's also a level of activity, right? So I could eat perfectly well, but if I'm not moving and burning, I'm not going to be metabolically active. And the only way that we're going to avoid disease and get better is by being metabolically active. So we need nutrients to do so, and we need exercise to do that. So I think, Fred, part of it is if you're not eating the processed foods, but you're making your own meals, you're already a step above the majority of the people here in America, where we're living off the standard American diet. There was a, I'm plugging a lot of people today, huh? There was a post on Instagram, I don't remember if it was yesterday or the day before, by Ask the Dentist, who absolutely, I love his content. You should follow him if you love about dental, but was talking about goldfish crackers and how goldfish crackers damage the teeth. And you know, what was the first snack that was offered to my kids when they went to preschool? Goldfish crackers. What's in goldfish crackers? Junk. There is no nutrition in a goldfish cracker. None. But yet it's the first thing that we start throwing at our toddlers, right? And then we get Jolly Ranchers, and then we get, you know, honey grams, and then we get cereals that are full with chemicals, you know, a lot of the Kellogg's brands and things like that are full of chemicals from the crops, additives, junk, sugars, and then we wonder why it's so hard to come off of that. I think if we went back to, you know, even if it's not how I eat per se, but if we went back to actually making them breakfast, you know, and not taking it out of a box and offering them snacks like apples, you know, we might actually see quite a change in childhood obesity. Childhood obesity makes me frustrated because I think a lot of it is learned from the time they're little. And unfortunately, it impacts their health in the future. So it is becoming a problem, and it is causing more diabetes in younger people. And once again, it's not really the child's fault because we're marketing to that crappy diet, if that makes sense, right? The home food, let's see. Yeah, crazy, right? Just kind of reading. Aw, thanks, Timothy. Like I said, today's a little more informal, so not so much a formal talk. He said he could love listening to me all day. That's sweet. Thank you. What do my kids eat for breakfast? Great question. If I can get them to, I'll make them breakfast. Sometimes I'll make them like scrambled eggs. My son, my 9-year-old, makes smoothies. He's quite adept at it. So usually he does a child's vegan protein powder, banana. Sometimes he'll put frozen berries. Sometimes he'll even put spinach in there, which is pretty amazing. Almond milk, and he sometimes ice. So he'll blend that up. So my 9-year-old is a big smoothie maker. When they do eat cereal, because of course they do, we use oatmeal quite a bit, but we don't use the traditional oatmeal packets. We use more, you know, like whole oats or organic gluten-free oats. You know, we know where they're sourced from. They're not full of a bunch of sugar. So they do like oatmeal. They love chia pudding, if I remember to make it at night. I don't know if any of you have had chia pudding or if you know how to make it, but kids love chia pudding. So it's basically chia seeds, almond milk. Sometimes I do mashed banana. Sometimes I do pumpkin, a little bit of maple syrup, and you put it in the fridge the night before, and then in the morning they just take it out kind of like a yogurt, right? And they eat it. You can sprinkle it with granola. My kids do love granola, and they love non-dairy yogurts. So almond milk based yogurts. They do some soy based yogurts. Not my favorite. I don't like to overload on soy, but they like the flavor of them. And then if they really want that cereal, we use the organic, non-GMO, versions of like Rice Krispies or Chex or whatever. I'm pretty picky about that. I have boys though, and they eat a freaking ton. I don't know if you guys have boys, but holy Toledo. I think they eat more at breakfast than I eat in an entire day. So trying to keep up with that has been a challenge as a parent. It really has. So what I look for is the additives to the food, right? So I may not eat meat, but my kids do. So if they want to make, if they want an egg sandwich or something for breakfast, we can do that. And I use a whole grain, bread with a lot of seeds and nuts and things like that, as opposed to a white processed bread, right? So it's more the source, of course. Bob's Red Mill gluten-free oatmeal. Exactly. I use that. Exactly. I love it. I got a couple here. I don't eat junk food. Right. Exactly, Fred. Exactly. Do I use opium? Nope. No, this is about the only drug that goes into my body much these days, but coffee, caffeine. Maybe occasionally a little bit of mezcal. Kids love fruit. My kids love fruit as well. In fact, great point. I keep the little cutie oranges, apples, bananas. Sometimes we usually always have strawberries, blueberries. Sometimes I'll throw in like plums or peaches, which they don't gravitate towards as well, but definitely love fruit. All right, so I would love if you guys think about things you'd like to hear about. I like to hear your stories. I like to hear what your hindrances are so that I can come here on a daily basis and help fill in those gaps of healthcare for you, because my ultimate goal is to get us well and for us to be empowered to do it ourselves, so that when we reach out to the doctor, we're just doing little tweaks, little modifications, but the majority of the work can be done by you. It can. And the first thing to do, take a look at your stress response. Take a look to how you interpret information. If things are making you anxious, you're not liking what you just take some time for yourself. Anytime you process things through the eyes into the brain that causes an anxiety or stress response, you are actually hindering your health. So try to be careful out there. It is an election year. It is a year of a pandemic. There's a lot of news floating around. There's a lot of opinions. There's a lot of hatred. There's a lot of this or that. If you read something like that and it impacts you, if your heart is hurt or it really impacts you, back away from it a little bit. Take care of yourself. Put yourself first, okay? What other people are thinking or doing really is their own opinion, right? So, and same here, my own opinion too. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. I'm gonna show up every day and I'm gonna give you information and you either agree or you don't, and that's totally cool with me. Coffee is your drug of choice. Yeah. So yes, so thank you to all of you for showing up today. I appreciate the little bit of coffee talk. If you would like the recipe for the London Fog Latte, it is absolutely at drpingle.com. If you have topics that you or your family want to hear about, send them my way. You have any comments, you want to know more about me, send them my way. I promise I will do a Q&A. If it's not tomorrow, it'll be early next week. I have a couple other topics I want to talk about. So you'll see what I wake up tomorrow and feel like doing. But I will be back here I see more comments going. So I will be back tomorrow around 9:15 a.m. Pacific Standard Time with a new topic. I want to thank you guys for the casual interaction today. A little bit different, but hopefully it was a nice change of pace for you guys as well. I'll be back in my usual spot with my usual energy to talk about something interesting tomorrow. Thank you so much, guys. Cheers. Go enjoy your day. Bye-bye now.